Hello and welcome to our channel. We are so glad you're here, and today we're going to be giving and sharing some practical tips on how to date your spouse.
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 How to date. Let's start.
You need to schedule time together, because if you don't schedule it, it won't happen. And it seems a bit unromantic, but the truth is you just have to make it work. And if you don't schedule it, it won't happen, and that's a problem. Now, how spontaneous were you actually before you get married? Probably not so spontaneous as you believe that you were at the time when you think about it.
Exactly. When you think about it, it's like you didn't just turn up at my house very often. You know, it would be like, do you want to go out on such and a day?
Yeah.
It would be like, can we meet here at this time?
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe what you were doing and the ideas, they were spontaneous.
Perhaps,
and maybe like your communication before the actual date was spontaneous, but the actual date itself and what and where and what time is going to happen, probably not that spontaneous.
And that's partly because, you know,
That's just life.
it's just life.
You have responsibilities. No matter what time you, like in your life, you're dating somebody or courting somebody, you're going to have other responsibilities,
That's right.
whatever they're going to look like.
And responsibilities change as you grow a bit older and you grow up together and you end up having children,
Yeah, so
etc.
your scheduling needs to be on point.
Yeah,
When you're scheduling it, like they're like the set dates, but you should alternate who is going to be responsible for organizing that date. So what you're doing, where you're going, maybe what things you may need for that date. Alternate who is responsible, because it just sort of eliminates any negative feeling if one person is always doing it. It can sort of get repetitive, or it can mean that the person just ends up feeling like, do you know what, this is other person even like,
do they even bother?
Do they
even
bother?
care?
Yeah, so just like get rid of those thoughts before they even get in there, and alternate who's just responsible.
Nobody wants to feel taken advantage of.
Yeah,
do
or
they?
for granted as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the date jar. We have a date jar which you put lots of ideas into the date jar. And the idea of that in general is, if you're stuck for an idea, or it's your turn and you're rubbish at coming up with ideas, then you're supposed to be able to use the date jar, and it's already got lots of ideas inside it.
Yeah, and they can be like differing if they're at home dates or going out dates, and different level of expense as well.
So there are limitations on things. For example, if the date that you pull out of the jar says pottery class tonight and you've got no clay, that's not happening tonight. So put it aside, take another one, and do that. You don't have to be rigid on your
So we just
production.
we found it to be a tool to just help eliminate the decision making idea, mind space of what to do, to sort of get rid of that. Basically, you're getting rid of a stumbling block in order for the date
that's right.
not to happen.
Sometimes you just need a Kickstarter.
Exactly. And our date night is actually what I did is write out the ideas on the table confetti from our wedding, which were like the cutouts
From the invitations. Yes.
To recycle the paper, and I kept loads because that's what
Loads.
I do. Anyway, so it's kind of useful because we have our dates written on them, and they're very nicely designed, and we had a really good printer and designer doing that, and their link is in the description below.
Thanks.
But seriously, guys, when you're having a date with your spouse, mix it up. Don't just do what one person is interested in. If your spouse is super into like crafts, not every single date do craft. Maybe once in a while. Or if your other half is really into golf, don't always go to play golf. Mix it up.
You could do glass blowing.
That would be so cool.
Literally, it wouldn't be cool.
Yeah,
but be considerate of each other, because if you're not considerate, then in the end, we're trying to avoid things where you can have sort of rancor or bitterness against one another. We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, so for example, I wouldn't even suggest taking him to go dancing.
It is literally So embarrassing.
When
Oh
we
my
first
days.
got together, we went to a swing night, which I really like the idea of swing dance. I'm not coordinated enough for swing dance, but we went to this and I sort of persuaded him to go on the dance floor. But when I look back at photos, it's just not a good idea. Just not enjoying himself.
So embarrassing.
So I won't even think about doing that now. So be considerate
Yeah.
of what the other person is into or what they're really not into. You know, they're your spouse. You should know some stuff about them by now to be able to plan.
And be caring enough to at least avoid some stuff.
Yeah, like the dance.
All right, next thing. If you haven't got a babysitter, that can be a problem, but we've got some date ideas for you for at home. If you can't get a babysitter, and let's face it, we are in lockdown right now, which hopefully will change soon, but you never know. But if you can't get a babysitter, check the video up there and you can see some ideas. If you can get a babysitter,
Then do some other cool stuff too.
yeah, do things when you have the chance.
And you know, I think at some point we will do a video on like some date ideas that you can do in London, which is obviously the best city in the world.
Obviously,
Just
the best.
Anyway, so we are really big supporters of spouses and married couples and dating. We think it is so important, and on our next video we're going to be sharing some reasons why. So make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss it.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, I think.
I think so too.
All right, so hopefully this has been a little bit useful for you. See you next time.
Bye. Guys.